So I are you kidding me? But I think it's just they have bullets and crack pipes in them.
I went to Westside High and those side of tracks, there are kids that sell drugs too, so.
Well, I know they do, and I wish more people who grew up here would move back in. But success for them is 3-bedroom, 2 baths. That is out here.
Hold on just one second. Yeah, Ms. Glover.
Yes, I'm listening.
I just wanted to make the point that as far as what he was saying is, no one, we're not bad people, we're doing a job, you guys aren't bad people because you want a certain, you know, you have a certain vision of your community. The one thing that I want to point out though, the comments which seem to me to be more exciting or enticing, displacing, that Mr. Bellows is displacing a lot of people. Well, people in your community sold him the property. They made
How did that happen?
financial.
How did that
Okay.
happen?
And the eminent domain case you're talking about, Mr. Bellows has no eminent domain powers. That was the governmental authority that took that
There's a long
action, not Mr.
reputation of
Bellows.
trickery, and
Okay.
there's a long reputation of
Right.
trickery.
And I understand that, you know,
I wouldn't
Dan
defend
Bellows.
Bellows on his way to purchase.
I wouldn't go there.
But let me, I mean, the point is that we came here today to try to see if we could have a discourse that, and come up with some kind of compromise that might work for your community and might work for David Weekly's project. So that's why we're here. But obviously, I don't want to spend hours and hours here just being bashed. If that's what we're going to accomplish here today, then we might as well all go home. If we're going to somewhere, then let's talk and let's see where we can compromise.
Going back and forth, arguing, because right now everyone's opposite sides, so we just want to kind of hear what each person has to say.
Okay, I just need to say this one thing. It's not going, well, it turned into going back and forth. But what I said were facts. I was not bashing anyone. And I made the comment that the cart wasn't before the horse, and you guys wouldn't have even come into it. You would if you represent the City group.
And every day, every project, this is generally how.
Okay, but let me finish, okay, if you don't mind. But the facts were that Sidgan made the request, and that was what I said. Now, when I said that, you know, there are educated people, people with degrees and all of that in the community, that's true. Now, this is John, with all due respect, but this is the same thing that happened at PNC. I don't care what come up with this community. Mr. Bellows, and now I've heard you say it, you go back to, you need to look at yourself in the mirror, if there are cracks in there. Now, I take offense to that, okay? I don't need to look at myself in the mirror. Yes, those things might happen, but for you to say we need to take a look at ourselves in the mirror, and the young lady that was staying in that house, she was not a crack addict. She has a mother with 2 children, working hard, and staying in a house she should not have had to have her feet go through the floor. But regardless of what comes up on this community, people always go back, and I won't use you and Bellows, but that's who said it so far. Go back to the crack and the this and the that. That's happening in everywhere. So let's not stereotype this whole community with that. And of course, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop, and then I hope we get back to the fact.
Yes.
But of course, you say you see the cracks and all of this and the crack addicts and all of that. Well, hey, you say, where are we when the cars are coming? If you're the one who see the cars, you call the police. And let me finish, and then we're going to go back to factual. There are things that happen in this community that are allowed to happen. There are things that are happening on city property where people are sitting and doing things that probably don't belong to us. It's city property. They can police their own property. They see it happening, but they'll say it's the whole community.
I don't think it's any one person.
Well, okay, well, we're gonna go pick some facts, but I just have
one quick comment because I have to leave. I don't believe that this is the right venue for what we are talking about. The city has elected officials that should be making a decision about this. They have a zoning board, and I think it's inappropriate for them to have said to a group of people, you all go back and y'all talk and work this out. Now, having said that, I don't know what the purpose was in doing that, but all this does is create ill feeling, bad discourse, and it makes it look like we're here at odds with each other, as opposed to elected officials doing what they're elected to do, which is when people come to ask for a zoning variance, the answer is either yes or no. And that is all there is to it. Now, they will give the opportunity to residents to come in to say if they agree or if they're opposed, and then a decision is made. But that it is not appropriate for this to be happening in this way. That's all I have to say. And I think that it should just go back to them to say yes or no.
And I'm going to ask, as the city representative here, my name is Bruce Stone, I'm the director of planning and community development. I was the planner who was there during P&Z. Let me point out, what the P&Z asked you to do is exactly what you did as a community last Friday. You got together and you came out with some alternatives. What I heard tonight and what I can think back, believe it or not, you may not feel this was successful, but to me, there have already been some landmarks, and we've already reached some really, actually very successful points in this. I know your position. Your position is, we only want R1A. That's what this community wants. That's what you want. And what I get from the applicant is, that's not acceptable to us. We want something else. So now we know those alternatives. And now we've heard you say that. We've heard you say that. Trust me, I have sat here and listened. I'm going to go back, I'm going to look at the comprehensive plan. When I received the letter, and I need to apologize, I did not get that letter till late Tuesday afternoon at the P&Z meeting where Bob Kemmer had gone in. And I intend to respond to that letter back to you. That's my obligation to you, and I will do that. I think it is important that we take what you said. I think it is important that we go back to the P&Z at the meeting on May 6th, and we tell them, you have had a community dialogue. You have also met with the representatives. We are at an impasse.
Right.
Okay, but I can tell you honestly, as a planner, I don't have a solution to your impasse yet, but let us see what we do. I don't know that there is one. I think you have the right as a community to toe a line. I think you have the right to say the comp plan says X, we think it's X. I think as a speculative deal, Mr. Bellows had the right to come in and ask, but he deserves either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, just like you said. And that's where we go from here. And that's the decision that has to be made. It's not a decision staff will make, staff will make our recommendations. I'm not going to sit here and tell you right now what that recommendation is. I said at the P&Z, we came up with a compromise that was unacceptable to Mr. Bellows. I'd recommend denying his application. So that's where we're at.
There's one thing I want to add to what you just said.
And we had the room till 7, so we've got about a half an hour. So I don't want anyone leaving here feeling like this has just been something on the free-for-all, and maybe the applicants feel like it is, but I don't feel that way. I have appreciated the comments. I understand very clearly where you are. I think we need to take a big, broader look. I think as planners and as a community, we need to look broader. We have an update of the comprehensive plan that's supposed to be done in 2015. I would like to think about and offer some alternatives to maybe bring in some people who are less emotional, maybe some more objective, and maybe can provide us the ability to have a conversation and to dialogue with each other where the history matters and how we go forward matters and can be kind of the outside looking in for us. Because I think there is a lot of history and a lot of policy, and we need to get together on that. I don't know that it's us.
Bring somebody in from outside.
I don't know who it is, but if you would give me that opportunity, I'd like to look around to see if I can find a group that everyone is comfortable with to do that. And we can start that process prior to the comp plan. But what I'm taking away from this meeting and when I walk out of here is very clearly what your position is. No doubt in my mind.
And just to your point,
That's
one comment, there's nothing wrong with being emotional.
There is nothing wrong
Okay,
with
so
it.
don't
This
make
is
like
your-
emotional.
no, I want you to understand. We understand. This is your neighborhood. I absolutely get that.
Okay, so-
This is your neighborhood, and I respect that. And we have, as a CRA, we've made investments in this neighborhood because we see the value of this neighborhood. We see the value of the community as a rule, and we respect that. If I didn't respect that, I wouldn't be here.
I would like to quickly say, I am a resident, I've been back home now 4 years, after leaving 20 years. And coming back home, where I am currently, I live around the world. I have never been in New York, Chicago, or Europe, and residents have gotten together to say this is what they oppose, and it's still happening. There is a great plan that we discussed last Friday, great options, and I understand what you're saying about the emotion of the individual. I think John's statement is very emotional, and it triggers certain things. So I think in our communication, we got to be effective. And we have to be mindful of what we say, because I'm one of those people that call. I'm one of those people, crack addicts that you're talking about. So many of them were selling things. No one looked like me buying. So what I'm saying is, I'm here in this community and I'm back home. And coming to this community to come back home, because my family, my mom is aging, I'm not going anywhere. And the property is not going anywhere. And I understand the situation about Bellows and Mr. Lee. But I can say from my experience since I've been home 1 year, the community is null and void, the people that you see here. They are not respected. They are not cared for. And we have a lot of Asian people. And this is the land in the community of beauty, the city of trees. I've been told 3 mandates that the city of Winter Park is very interested in. Trees, traffic, and pets, dogs. When is it that your community of residents, of human beings, aren't more than a dog or tree or traffic? You have to hear their voices. And there has been, what we spoke on last Friday, we took our time as a community to get together. But I have never lived anywhere, and the residents have spoken, and it's brushed to the side as it has been here.
Welcome home.
No, because as I told my mom, I'm not going to say welcome home. Ms. Daniels, I piggyback what she says. She says it's time. You guys are used to a certain, I guess, genre or demeanor of people. There's a change. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm young.
All right.
Thank you.
We've all heard it and we say it to each other, but we need to say it in front of the commissioners and in front of planning, and if it has to be done repetitively, then it needs to keep being done. And I've looked at this, if anyone else has comments, and so this doesn't, based on our meeting, this doesn't fit within what the community wants. So you're going to come back, I mentioned to you that.
Before we close, let me say one thing real quick. Yes, I just want to just share just a little bit, really, a few minutes.
20 minutes.
Is, and I speak on what the gentleman said, I speak on what you said. The things that you said, I believe you believe. That's the perception that we as a people want to change. Because that's not who we are. We're not those people that you see. I've had to deal with it personally ever since I was in high school, because I was considered an overachiever. He talks too proper. He's this, he's that. I've had to deal with it my entire life. I go into meetings and I'm the chair of the meeting and everybody else around me is different. And they say, what is he doing here? That's the perception that we have to change. And it sounds like to me a lot of people in Winter Park believe that this community is like the same shit. We're not educated. We're not smart. We're just a bunch of people that deal in crap, live in run-down houses, and don't care about the city of Winter Park. But we do. That's why we're here. Because we care. And on the passionate side, I'm very passionate. Everybody, I guess you know that by now, but I'm a very passionate person because I believe in what I believe in. I believe in treating people fairly. I'll fight for people for fairness any day of the week, no matter what color, where they're from, what region they're from, doesn't matter. But I'll always fight what I believe is right. And that's what we're here for. We're fighting for what we believe is right. Ms. Daniels just laid it out. We are not coming here with just a bunch of rhetoric. We're coming with facts. With plans that the city has already established, rules and regulations that the city has already laid forward. And the young lady that just left said, we shouldn't even be here. And I agree with her. Because it should be a yes or no. It's black and white in all of the text that you have. That is not right. And why should we try to change it for one person? It's already been established that it shouldn't be. But now the city's coming back to us saying, well, what do you want? So you can tell us what you want, then guess what? We don't have to make a decision because you made it for us. We're too smart for that.
Dora, I have a question for Dora. Dora, you said that you're going to try and find an objective facilitator or someone that you can have a discussion with. What's happening in the San Luis Square area is indicative of every African American community throughout the United States. So trying to find someone that you can have an objective conversation with. This isn't new. This is a historical issue for African, and I'm just not to. It's to let you know it's not just relative to here. So
I want the community to be involved in things like looking at the comprehensive plan, which, as this gentleman pointed out, is just a document. It lays out standards, it lays out policies, it lays out guidelines, it lays out the thou shalt and the thou shalt not. It lays out a plan for our community. Correct.
But they still continue to have meetings at 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. We work in this community.
I think that'll take off.
We don't own most of us are not entrepreneurs. Most of us don't own our jobs or whatever. So, and each elected official, each department continue to change their meeting dates. We had 20 years ago, we had gotten them changed to 5:30, where most of us would be able to attend. We didn't go to sleep, nothing was on the table, so we kind of backed off from going to the meetings. Now the new regime is in, they changed meetings back to, we have a 12 o'clock workshop, we have a 2:30 work session, we have a 3:30 city commissioners meeting. We work. So you can't go to those meetings at that time. Now, you want to talk about being on the street, let me miss too many days of work.
All right, because I guess we're pretty much.
Like to say on the projects.
Okay, I spoke with him while everyone was talking. And basically let him know based on our meeting, this doesn't fit within it. We want to stick with R1.
Well, with all due respect, I don't think we've talked about it.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
don't present it to him, present it to her, because
Okay.
she
Before
represented
we get to
that.
the plan, R1A is where the community starts.
Okay.
Can he speak about the project?
I'm good. Sure. See, the way I see all this is, and all your points are very well taken. We have, I see two issues, basically. There is an overall public policy issue that the city needs to handle, which is, just how in general this area is to be developed and redeveloped or not redeveloped. That's one whole item that on a big scale needs to be looked at. The other item is this little 1.5 acre site that we're looking at the moment.
It's little to you, a monstrosity to us.
I'm just saying, but you can handle, what I'm saying is, the big policy issues, those are on a city level, that it's a broader, it's handled on a much broader level. And this is either, I would like to talk about the plan, because we were charged with seeing if we could work something out. And as much as some may think that this was unfair of the city to send us out to cut a deal, I disagree. Orange County, that is absolutely Orange County's policy, that when you come in for a rezoning or a subdivision plan to break up a piece of property into multiple lots, the first thing they do before you go to any meeting with the commissioners is you are sent out to have a neighborhood meeting. You're sent out to go talk to your neighbors.
But he didn't do that.
No. What I mean is that's Orange County policy. That's Orange County policy, that you're not scheduled for a public meeting until you've had a neighborhood meeting, that the commissioner scheduled, he gets.
I don't mean no disrespect to you, but for the last 25 years, we've gone through that, been patted on the head to say that you need to be here, you need to do that. We understand the policy, we understand all of that. But you're right, we're still being disrespected by the city. we shouldn't, me personally, we shouldn't even be talking to you because you didn't present anything. You're later on down the hill. We should be talking to Dan's representative. And Madam Chairman, would you please go ahead and present what the community asked you to present to
I mean,
them?
this
so
is
we
what I'm
shall-
talking about. You're working together. We're trying to work together. You make
I was
me out to be
interrupted.
so
I'd like to
bad.
Ma'am, I didn't say that you were a bad person. I'm not saying that, and I don't want to turn the meeting into an argument or something. I just want her to go ahead and present what the community have come up with.
One point I want to make.
Hold on just a second. We need to get back on task.
Yeah.
We only have room to 7 o'clock, it's 20 minutes. We have presented our position. He has come with an alternative based on Dan Bellows, is that correct?
No, not based
Well,
on.
you've come up with Dan, you're ready to present a alternative.
Well, I want
He
to.
has to see basically, you're gonna be able to do what you wanna do.
Yeah.
Your business.
Right, so that's what you want to present right now.
Right, and actually, that is why I'm here. And yes, I agree on step 2, but I know everybody's thinking more, what does this finished product look like? What is this that's going to be there in my neighborhood that I'm going to look at? And my company is that company that builds those and sells them. So that's why I'm here, just to say, this is what
He's
we're
putting
talking
what's
about.
going to be there. He's the one
Right.
that's
So
putting.
that's it, that's the only reason.
So now that you've established that, let us see what your
Okay,
plan is.
and my question is I know you've come with the one R1A, is our kind of line in the sand of this is what has to happen to, and it's not ultimatum, but say this is kind of economically what we need to do, what has to happen on the property for us to be able to make it work, is it does need to be attached. Now, we can talk about a lot of, other things, and things can be done architecturally and setbacks, and you notice there's no driveways on the street, they're all in the back, so all you're seeing is the front of the homes. And they're two-story homes on the front, but we really do need them to be attached to get the number of units, but if that's a absolutely not on your side, then, that, I want to bring it up, and we talk about that. In the spirit of trying to see
Are you
it.
looking to sell the property back for the price that you bought it to where somebody can develop what we want in the community?
Well, I'll address that issue, because the 400,000, 300,000 has been thrown out there like somebody's making $400,000 off these houses.
That's a good point.
There's construction costs, they're not making anywhere near that on these houses.
Well, please, don't roll your eyes. There's not $400,000 made on the house. It's a product with
I don't
a
think
margin.
that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the sales price, not what's made on the house. And would we be able to afford the sales price?
And you know what, and I'm, in the spirit of candidness, and I've been that way from the start, no, these are not, we don't build affordable
Exactly,
housing.
and that's
We
what
don't
we
build
are.
work, that's not what our company does. We build market rate we don't do rental, we don't build condos, we don't do affordable housing or workforce housing. We sell market rate
Bellows needs to
homes.
look for someone that does.
Well,
It may
affordable
be,
housing
but
element, also the
that's-
city has to make a determination of how much affordable housing, and that should be part of the comp plan. This should not be an issue on a project by project basis.
Right.
This should have been something that is the overall city's design and plan for the future. And where affordable housing
That's
is
not
going
going
to
to
be
be
provided.
That's what's there.
And
but everywhere, on every lot,
it's not on,
No, the current R1A lots.
they
It was
can't,
part of the
you can't say that somebody has to build, that owns that lot, you're gonna say you have to build only a $100,000 or $200,000 home? It's not gonna benefit you to have a $400,000 house next to your property? Your property's not even gonna go up.
Not if it's
Why would you want to keep somebody from building a nice,
well, I guess just to go back to trying to talk through the plan.
Yes.
If there is, you've written the letter, and we see everything talked about, but what you've told us is that your position is R1A. And I'm just saying, in order for, David Weekly Homes to do the deal or make it work for us, and I thought there can be other solutions, but this is hard, is attached products. So is there any chance that there's anything we can do to make a plan work?
What
Would it be
what you just said is to make it work for you guys. What do you mean when you say to make it work for you?
Well, in other words, just We do have to
No,
make,
that's what I mean.
well, of course, we do have to make some
Everything,
profit
every
off.
builder does, based on economics.
I'm a business.
That's why we're community events. Like there's community, there's, the city band, and then there's your company.
Why don't you go land trust and make non-community land? I mean, you originally wanted contributions to the land trust. The land trust is the one that wants
So I
to
guess
go
that's
and
no
go
one,
in.
so I guess the conversation needs to happen between you and the city band.
It seems like the issue can't be resolved. It seems like the issue really can't be resolved because we're not listening to one another. It's too many conversations have your agenda, that's clear.
Guys, do we get it, I in here?
Point of order up there is too many.
Excuse me. You all talk to yourself instead of talking to us. We're not getting anything accomplished.
Okay, I want to talk so that you can hear our conversation, but we keep, I know everyone's very passionate, but the passion of what's going on in the community, that passion needs to be, them hearing it is not gonna do anything. That needs to be heard by the city and commission. So what we're trying to do, basically what I'm trying to explain to them now is based on where they stand and based on where the community stands, there's no solution right now. But the person that's in the middle is, am I saying right, Sidgan, is that pronounced? Is Sidgan. So I think Sidgan and his company need to have a conversation. And, well, the conversation needs to happen between us first, and he knows what we want, so then he can kind of come back and say, okay, I need to make what I want fit within what the community wants. And
Can
then
you
from there, he needs to
recap what there, because we only have a few more minutes, can you recap what the community is presenting, and can she recap what SIGAN is putting forth to the community?
Okay, what we presented was, basically, our stance is R1, keeping it as is. What we sent out and what we discussed at the meeting, as far as like, I won't go into detail about it because none of that is set, but you know what we discussed. We sent that out as basically a summary of what was discussed in the meeting. But our stance is R1. Now, if the city says we can't make that work, then we go into kind of here. But if it's R1, then we don't have to worry about that.
Marquis, I just have one question that needs to be directed at Dora or Jeff. Dora, I guess you would be the one. Where you guys, obviously, just looking at what's been happening online and looking at, you all are still exploring the affordable housing and the workforce housing.
Well, we had the workshop in front of the city commission, and I am still working through what if anything came out of that workshop. You know, the city commission has chosen to not continue with the linkage fee, which hurts, you know, was a surprise to us. We are looking at, you know, how many houses we have, and one of the things we did talk about was taking our entire jurisdiction as well as slightly without it, and seeing really how many affordable housing based on the average median income levels from HUD as to affordable housing and workforce housing, how many units we really do have in Winter Park, whether with our population we need more, whether we'll need more as we grow, and where they're located. I think it's important to know where our affordable housing and workforce housing is located. Is it near where people can walk to work? Is it near where people can get sunrail? Is it near transit stops? And that's something that we'll need to do.
Do they have to do a second reading?
I wasn't quite finished with it.
Thank you.
Where you all haven't even obviously came to a decision there, it appears to me that you need to put a moratorium and not do anything. Because you don't even know where you
Well,
are.
I certainly won't make, that is not a decision that staff makes. That right there is a policy decision that the city commission will need to make.
But can you make that recommendation to the city commission?
I can make a recommendation that use a community feel that moratorium needs to be in place. I'm happy to carry that forward.
And my next question, is there a second meeting on second meeting on the linkage fee? Don't they have to have 2 readings of that?
No, they did it as they did it under the fee schedule. The linkage fee stayed on the books. They didn't do away with it, They've just chosen not to currently carry a wage fee in our fee schedule.
So to whose advantage is that, the developers?
Yeah. It was a surprise to staff, is all I'm saying. Yes.
So to the residents? Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I guess from where we stand, you know where the community stands. So I guess if you can come up, if there's a solution that you come up with, would you like to see, we'd like to see
Well,
a site plan, elevation, and then, or what would you like to see? If there is no
I'm
solution.
gonna interrupt. If I may, can I, would anybody mind if I don't think right now that there is a solution right at this moment. I don't think right now that tonight we're gonna come up, that between St. John and between their client, David Weekly, and between you three as the representatives for the city or for this community, that we're gonna come up with an option.
I know there won't be a solution tonight, but at the next meeting, they say we have a solution.
Well-
If there is a solution, we need to see it.
Right, and
So
I
that's
agree
what
with
I'm
that.
saying.
But I think
If that happens in this.
I don't think it needs to be on
I
P and Z
think
for the sixth.
I think the place to have that happen is that now they know where your line in the sand is. It's up
Yes,
to you
because we had a
guys.
totally
You
different
guys,
opinion when we got here.
you guys
Everyone
got
had
it,
the
you guys
impression
got
that
it,
they were like,
right, you
this
guys
is the thing.
go away. I mean, go away and see what happens. And then if you want to, what I would suggest is that, if you want to get together again as a small group and have that dialogue, and then maybe you as the voice and representative of the community can bring that back, that may help with that, and you'll know where that line, they know where you're at right
And I guess
now.
my next question would be, is there a forum where we can have this type of meeting where what was being discussed today and opinions that would be put out, but have the commissioners or the planning board able to have that conversation? They're gonna dig into it. Here where they're planning,
That should be-
so when they're making these decisions. they
That
have
should be
to
part of
work
the package.
It's a workshop.
It should be
Because
a workshop.
yeah, the workshops.
I would suggest also that it not be on the agenda for May the 6th.
The P&Z does intend to have a workshop about it on the May 6th agenda, because they wanted to hear they really did want to hear your feedback. They wanted to hear whether there was a compromise position. I think we now know where that is, and unless something amazing, personally, unless something really kind of amazing happens between where you guys need to be and where the community is, we owe the P&Z the opportunity to hear both sides come together and say, we did what you suggested, we had a meeting, and we're here. We're not here, we're nowhere near to here, we're really here. And that's what I want the P&Z to hear on the 6th. And then I'm going to let the P&Z, because it is a public hearing item, and there is a process in that, and there is a time schedule with that, I'm going to let the P&Z, as the body that makes that recommendation, decide where they want to go with it. And that's what I'm going to do.
What time is the P&Z meeting?
We're going to have the workshop, they're going to meet at 5, is that when they were going to have the workshop? Oh, you weren't there. 5 o'clock, they're going to have a workshop at 5,
On
an
the
hour
6th.
before, on the 6th, an hour before the regular P&Z meeting on the 6th.
I just have a quick question for Attorney Kimberly. It may make sense for Mr. Bellows to look for a different kind of builder. If David Weekly Homes only builds high-end, then that's not the builder for this community. If you're talking about higher-end homes, if you say we don't build...
I don't understand, this is what I have a problem with. You're saying that it should be only low-income housing in this community? That to me is wrong.
Okay.
That's not what she said.
But you're basically saying you don't want any homes that are 300 to 400,000.
She just said correct.
One person has said, I don't think that $300,000 to $400,000 homes in the neighborhood are appropriate. And I would like to see if, I mean, I don't think $200,000 is unreasonable to pay for a townhouse or whatever you're talking, I mean, any kind of house that you're talking about building. If you only do the higher end places, then let's.
And aren't there several lots there that could be sold?
I'm sorry?
Aren't there several lots there that people still can buy and build their $200,000?
No, there aren't. They're shrinking and they're shrinking and they're shrinking. You haven't lived and you haven't experienced what we have. And you haven't watched the city. You haven't watched the city lose all of our single-family homes.
And some people do it. Not many, but there's.
Let's just make one comment. I don't have a problem with $300,000 or $400,000 homes. That's great. My problem is, I don't want 50 of them on the same size lot. We don't need 50, we don't need 50 $400,000 homes.
Not even 50 plans for this.
I mean, whatever the number is. It should be a single family home.
Right.
It should be a single family home, and not how many of them. That's no problem.
I have a question about Brian Hall. This has been going on for years. And what I see is gentrification. And what you do, you come into the black communities or the low-income communities, and you build homes that people cannot afford to live in. Now, Mr. Weekly built homes over in Baldwin Park, beautiful homes. He is scheduled to build 4 or maybe 6 altogether on Lyman. And what you're doing, you are moving the people out of the community. Now, each one of you would not like for that to happen into your community. Go over by Phelps, go over by where the mayor lives. You do not go in no community other than the black community and destroy the whole entire community. Now, I can talk to you because I know. I have been here. So you know, you can't say, sure, you're emotional. When you be emotional, is somebody going to come and burn your house down?
But they're not burning the house.
Hey.
$400,000 home.
Young lady, first of all, the way that property is being taken and the way you come back here to try to build up a whole entire community, it was said early in 2000 and 1999 during that area that the west side would be changed, that the west side would no longer look the same. Sure, what you're doing, you're forcing the people out of their homes.
Right.
And then what you do, you build the split level homes. When you build a split level homes in certain neighborhoods that people can't come back and build the houses the way it was, you have to comply with the new homes that you have to
And
build.
what she's talking about
So
is,
first of all, you are not considering the neighborhood.
when you come in, you build an expensive home, property values go up. Property values go up, taxes go up. So now my house, I can't afford to pay the taxes, so now what do? So then that's how people end up getting forced. So it's more of like a domino effect.
That's what it is.
So that's what she's saying, you're forced out, you get to a point where
That doesn't just happen in the African American.
In every neighborhood, everywhere. You go to Chicago, you don't want to. Order. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
We're gonna have to
Okay, we're
close,
gonna close the meeting, they know where we stand, and we'll just go from there. But as a community, let's stay, have a discussion, so we know where to go next.
Well, I